I now know categorically that the Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin technology. Why are we being lied to? The Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin technology.
Oh, okay. Ross Coulthart has come out and said that he knows for definite that Lockheed Martin is behind the creation of the Tic Tac UFO craft. And I'm sure many of you probably know what that is, right? This pill-shaped object that has been reported since the 50s, okay? And there's a few things in this kind of assumption, I guess you could say, that doesn't quite sit right with me. Now, if we go back in history and look at all of the reports, and even to current day, where we have Air Force fighter pilots, the Navy, things of that nature, that have reported these craft flying in and around their airspace, going from 0 to 1,000,000 miles per hour, or however fast they go, right? And interacting and interrupting their operations when they've been out on tours and whatnot. Which is kind of weird, because if this is made by Lockheed Martin, then why are their own sort of manufacturing companies messing with their own military, you know? Is this a show of strength or mocking the military from Lockheed Martin to kind of say, like, you guys aren't in charge, you haven't got all the power? Or is this just another smokescreen that's just been thrown up, bruv? Alright? See, these are quite wild claims, and if you're going to come out and say something like this, right, we need to see the receipts, bruv. Think about it, okay? And in the public sphere, if this gets released that they have this technology, then everyone needs to be poking and pointing fingers going, what have you got hidden, mate? Where did you get this from? How? Now, is this part of a smokescreen to say that every single craft that we see up in the sky, Tic Tac shape, is our own, and therefore it's easily explainable, shove it under the carpet? Me personally, I think there's a bit of both. If we're looking back in time from the 50s to current day, you know, maybe they have retrieved some sort of crash retrieval, found the tech for it, and then kind of manufactured something new, which is this Lockheed Martin tech that we are seeing. I don't know, mate. Okay, so let's look into this a little bit more, try and pick this apart a little bit, and then kind of, you know, maybe jiggle a few things around our brain, mate. And you guys let me know what you think as well, right? Because this is pretty damn interesting. Here's that interview that Ross said he knew that Lockheed Martin was the one behind the Tic Tac UFO. Listen to this.
No, categorically that the Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin technology.
Okay.
The Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin technology. Why are we being lied to? This is the issue. Why is the United States government now participating at White House executive level in collusion with the national security state to keep secret the fact that they've made these advances? I suspect it's because they've realised that they're being overtaken by their foreign adversaries, and they don't want you to know that.
So to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you have a weapons manufacturer of sorts in your home country, okay, creating these pieces of technology that are actively then going out and messing with military personnel, aircraft carriers, everything of the sense, where there's been so many reports, much like the Nimitz case, where these Air Force pilots saw this Tic Tac shaped UAP flying off into the distance instantaneously, going to like 35,000 feet and dropping. Check this case out, right? Look at this.
The U.S. intelligence community on Friday released a long-awaited report on what it knows about UFOs, or unidentified flying objects. Some of the more than 100 instances it studied could be explained by atmospheric occurrences, foreign adversary actions, or other phenomena. But most of the incidents defied explanation. One person who knows that well is retired Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, a retired Navy fighter pilot. Alex Dietrich, welcome to the NewsHour. So tell us what you saw back in a training mission in San Diego.
Crazy.
So in November of 2004, off the coast of Southern California, we were preparing for our deployment, running training exercises, and when we launched, anticipating going to a particular airspace and running these training exercises, we were interrupted for a real-world intercept. We were vectored to try to get a visual tally on something that another ship in our carrier strike group was picking up on their radar. So we followed their vectors, and we ended up getting a visual contact. There were 4 aircrew and 2 aircraft. So each aircraft is a cockpit with a pilot and a weapons systems officer. And so among the 4 of us, we picked up this visual tally on this UAP, this unidentified aerial phenomenon.
And what did it look like?
So we describe it as looking like a Tic Tac.
Tic Tac,
it looks like the little breath mint in larger scale, but white, oblong, no apparent flight control surfaces, no apparent visible means of propulsion.
Look at it, bro. You
was
little breath
maneuvering
mint.
in a way that we didn't recognize, that we
Breath
couldn't
mint
classify,
alien.
we couldn't identify.
And what do you think it is, looking back?
Oh, I'm not qualified to make that analysis. It's almost 17 years now, and I know there are a lot of folks who are curious and concerned about it, but I gave my debrief, gave what I could in terms of the information and data from that day, and I'll leave it up to the expert analysts to do their job and make that determination.
The report uses this language that there are UAPs who, quote, appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, move abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. Does that sound about like what you saw?
Alien, baby.
So I can't speak to what the winds were on that particular day. I don't know that we noted them, but it certainly did behave in a way, maneuvered in a way that we couldn't explain, and we couldn't anticipate its next move. So normally when you're looking at another aircraft, we do a lot of BFM or aerial combat maneuvering, where we are looking at turn circles or turn radius and anticipating the next move of our adversary, or if we're scrimmaging with each other. And
she looks tired just talking about it. She's like, I couldn't figure it out.
And kind of blew our minds in terms of the way it was maneuvering.
The report talks about how maybe the number of people reporting these incidents is actually low because there was a stigma attached to reporting. Did you ever experience that? Was there a stigma when you reported, and or did people respond to you strangely when you talked about it?
Sure. So I don't consider myself to be a whistleblower, and I don't, the media has been calling me and asking me to do these interviews, and as a military officer, I feel that I have a duty and an obligation to respond to those citizens who are curious and concerned about this issue. But if there is something that comes of this, I hope that it's a reduction in stigma, and that folks who do encounter something, whether it's in our airspace or in our waters, near a military exercise or just off of our coast, that folks will be encouraged to report and to report up through the official channels, to actually do a thorough observation and capture it if they can on film or on video, and again to relay that up so that those who are qualified and authorized to do that analysis can put the pieces together and maybe solve the puzzle.
Big up to the fighter pilot, mate, because she is an absolute legend, man, and she's completely true. You know, we need more people coming forward. The amount of stories and information that people have, but they're too scared to come forward and talk because A, ridicule, B, threats from the governments and stuff like that potentially, and C, you know what I mean? Like some of that stuff. And also, there's another part of me that thinks, was this part of a pre-test of sorts, you know, on the new radar systems? Can these things evade radar? Because if they're going out performing these kind of tests and maneuvers and going to a specific location, come across this Tic Tac shaped aircraft that they've picked up, you know, is it some sort of undercover test, you know? I don't know, mate. Bit of food for thought. And then there was that leak, I think it was on Reddit, of that person that claimed that BAASS had Tic Tac UFO technology, right? Check this out. So a former DoD Black Project engineer, now terminally ill, revealed the Tic Tac UFO is human-made and uses real operational gravitational propulsion developed through both reverse engineering and independent innovation. He described successful experiments involving Tesla turbines, rotating magnets, plasma toroids, and microwave systems that generate gravitational waves without the need for exotic materials, right? And here's some of the documents in question that were leaked by BAASS. Now, are all of these Bigelow Airspaces, Lockheed Martin, are they all working together? Or are they all on their own separate investigation or journey to kind of produce these technologies? And here's some other documentation here that kind of explains some of the aerodynamic capabilities of this weird Tic Tac shaped object, right? Now here's the actual Reddit page, mate, where this person was claiming this stuff, right? And there's so many different things here. We've got check objects mass transformation effect during spinning. Loads of science mumbo jumbo. But what I'm trying to say is, right, if this is being claimed that these corporations are doing it, potentially without the government's knowledge, why? And is there a secret military that's beyond our own that we currently don't know, that's probably a step above the normal military that we see, you know? And it kind of goes to question, like, some of the instances that we've had in the past where, like, Mike Herrera come across a craft in the forest, I think, and it was surrounded by these unmarked military personnel, you know, that were heavily armed and basically threatened them. They were soldiers themselves, and they told them to bugger off, mate, you know? So how far does this rabbit hole go? Well, I thought I'd just throw this out there to kind of, you know, it was just sticking on my brain, man. I had to talk about it and kind of throw a few things out because I don't know. I'm on the fence. You guys let me know what you think, right? And make sure to smash that like button down below because it helps me in the algorithm. And subscribe, mate. Share this around. Get people talking about it because these are some pretty wild claims that we need to kind of iron out, mate. And Ross, get a grip, bruv. Let us know. Show us the receipts, man. See you guys in the next one.